This country was the first to leave the Soviet Union. Do you know where? In today's video, we will find out. How did Moldova become independent? What is the story behind it? And why is it the first republic to break away from the Soviet Union? In 1991, when the government of the Soviet Union began to fall apart, many of its constituent republics declared their independence. The central planners in Moscow made decisions about what goods to produce and how to distribute them that often had little regard for the needs or desires of the Moldovan people. This led to shortages of basic goods and services and a general sense of economic discontent. The collapse of the Soviet Union marked the end of the Cold War and the beginning of a new era in global politics. The Moldovan people have the right to speak their own language and to practice their own religion. They are no longer under the thumb of the Soviet Union. One of them was Moldova. On August, the Parliament of Moldova adopted the Act of Independence, which proclaimed the country's withdrawal from the Soviet Union. The country faced a number of obstacles, including a lack of international support and the threat of violence from Soviet hardliners who were opposed to the breakup of the Union. However, the Moldovan people's desire for freedom and independence was too strong to be denied. They persevered through these challenges and eventually emerged as the first Soviet republic to declare its independence on August 27, 1991. One of them is that Moldova had long been a victim of Soviet oppression and it was no longer willing to be ruled by Moscow. The Moldovan people had their own language, culture, and identity, which they were eager to preserve and develop. However, under the Soviet regime, they were subjected to forced assimilation policies that sought to erase their distinct cultural traits and replace them with those of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. For example, in the 1930s, the Soviet government implemented a policy of collectivization that forced Moldovan farmers to abandon their private plots of land and join collective farms. This policy was designed to increase agricultural productivity and create a more efficient system of food production. However, it resulted in widespread famine and the deaths of millions of Moldovan peasants. This was a significant moment in history as it marked the beginning of the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War era. But why did Moldova break away from the Soviet Union? Well, there are a few reasons. In addition to these oppressive policies, Moldova also chafed under the Soviet Union's control over its economy. Despite these challenges, Moldova's path to independence was not easy. This was a momentous occasion, not just for Moldova, but for the entire world. Today, Moldova is a free and independent country. It has its own government, its own flag, and its own currency. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.